we can move on here to question 6. And question 6 reads, what is the production possibilities curve? Janine The Tutor has written that the production possibilities curve illustrates a two-good economy by having the production of one good on the x-axis and another on the y-axis. The combinations that are produced by using the best technology and resources available make up the curve. Any points inside the PPC reflect inefficiencies with production, and any point outside the PPC cannot be obtained with the given resources technology. Thus, economic growth on a PPC is illustrated by an outward shift of the curve. So here they're referring to it as a PPC, production possibilities curve. How I had always known it was as the production possibilities frontier. Same thing, just wanted to make sure anybody watching isn't confused by that. And what I'm going to do here is graph a production possibilities frontier for us. Perfectly straight line. Don't want to hear anything else about it. And too good economy, so maybe like we're producing like, I don't know, like shoes and shirts. So you're always going to draw a production possibilities frontier, bowed out, like so. It's probably my best curved line of the day. And what this line represents is essentially any two combinations, any point in this line represents an attainable combination of the two goods. So, you know, I'm going to draw a couple points here, maybe 1, 2, 3. And I'm also going to draw one outside the PPF and one inside the PPF. Call this A, B, C, D, and E up here. I'm just going to downsize this a bit so I can do some writing. So a good at point A, or more broadly, any good within the PPF. So anything inside the bowed out PPF is attainable. You can definitely have it, but it's inefficient because you could have had a whole lot more. So it's attainable, but inefficient. So say at this point you can get like one pair of shoes and like one shirt. But points B, C, and D, which are actually on the line, are what we would call Pareto efficient, or technically efficient. Definition of Pareto efficiency, more broadly, not even just specifically in this example. Something is Pareto efficient when you cannot make one more person better off without making someone worse off. And every point on the line is Pareto efficient. So we've got, you know, 3 different points here. B, C, and D. And let's say at B, you can get 2 shirts and like, no, sorry, 2 shoes, pardon me, and like 8 shirts. Point C, you can get 4 shoes and call it 6 shirts. Or point D, you know, you can get 6 shoes, and 2 shirts. All 3 of these points, and more broadly, any point on this line, are Pareto efficient or technically efficient. So, the kind of the difference between them is, say, if you prefer point B, then you've got 8 shirts and 2 pairs of shoes, but you think to yourself, well, actually, no, I would like more pairs of shoes. You cannot obtain more pairs of shoes unless you give up some shirts. So you cannot get better off in the category of shoes without becoming worse off in the category of shirts. That's what makes it Pareto efficient. And lastly, we've got point E way out here. It's about to get cramped. And say at point E, there is 10 shirts and 8 pairs of shoes. Point E, we say that point E is preferable to both A, B, C, and D. However, it is unattainable. And I believe our junior tutor made a good comment about this in their little write-up here. So I'll just take a look at that quickly. They said, how they said it here is that any point outside of the PPC, or as I was taught, PPF, cannot be obtained with the given resources and technology. Thus, economic growth on a PPC is illustrated by an outward shift of the curve. So if there was economic growth, maybe technology becomes more efficient, or there's an increase in the supply of labor, and as a result, output would increase. We could then, let's fudge this graph even further. What that would look like would be the PPF expanding outwards, maybe something like this. If that were the case, then E now becomes the Pareto efficient point. And A, B, C, and D become the attainable but inefficient points. And of course, all of this assumes that we've got rational consumers who prefer more to less, etc. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add to that. Probably not. Answer, that's correct. I'll give you guys a second to take a picture of that.